The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Should the Canucks pursue Matt Duchene and give him an 8-year deal? Well, they can't give him 8 years. They can give him 7. We need Matt Duchene, okay? Do the math.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
People, we back doing this, and that's giving you another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Kyle Bowen, and I got a burp, okay? Excuse me. I just ate some donair. Where am I going with this? Oh, yeah, Locked On Canucks, the show that gives you your Canucks every day. We're not professional. We're not the media, but we're emotional, and we're always here again every day. Hit the like button, subscribe. If you do enjoy today's episode, Trevor's got kids. I got a girlfriend, and I got a bald spot. So turkey is on the horizon, and you can help us out by, again, sharing that love. Speaking of sharing the love, okay, will the city of Vancouver share some love with Matt Duchene, right? Because I'm hearing a lot of things, okay? I don't want to say reports because they're not official reports, but I did hear that Matt Duchene is looking for some more comfort, right? A family man, one of the best fathers of all time, apparently, allegedly, assumingly, right? He wants to call a place home for a while after bouncing around team to team over the last couple of seasons. And Matt Duchene, a UFA, the Canucks need a center. Could he be a fit for the Vancouver Canucks? Trevor Beggs finally joining us, and Trevor Beggs probably knows the name of our title sponsor of today's episode, something that I missed. But hey, we're doing this, improvising, and again, we're talking about Matt Duchene on Locked On Canucks.
What's going on, Kyle? I'm happy to be back here on Locked On Canucks. Little computer issues and no title sponsor today, man. Just shout out to the Don't Doze Art Lab, man. Doing the most here on the West Coast, baby. Let's go. Matt Duchene to the Canucks, eh? I mean, how much would you be willing to pay Matt Duchene in free agency? I guess that is the big question, right? And we've talked about it. The Dallas Stars have, everything. They say everything's bigger in Texas, and certainly everything's bigger on the Stars cap sheet. I mean, they've got the most dollars committed of anybody next season. I think most would prefer to see the Canucks find a younger option down the middle, a Marco Rossi-like option, something like that. But with Matt Duchene, I mean, we all know for the Vancouver Canucks, next season matters so much. And Matt Duchene's proven that, look, he can be arguably a low-end first-line center even at this point in his career, if not a high-end second-line center. I mean, he's been at that level for the Dallas Stars. So there's a potential fit with the Vancouver Canucks, absolutely. I'm not sure if Duchene would want to leave Dallas to come here, but you said looking for more stability, Kyle, maybe there's a chance that the Canucks can sign him. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I just wonder what that dollar figure is actually going to turn out to be.
He's, again, looking for some comfortability, wants to stay in one place for a while. Those are the rumors, and I think the Canucks may be desperate. Again, this month is telling, Trevor. Like, we barely even touched on this, right? The draft combine is this month. I didn't even know the NHL draft was, like, centralized now, whatever that means. But apparently it's not going to be like one of those events where all the GMs are together and boom, bam, they're talking on the floor. They're having drinks together, right? Yeah, they're negotiating. Like, that's not going to happen at the end of the month. So we're going to hear a lot of circulating news this time around, right? Like, right now it's the draft combine. They're all together. The executives are in the building. It's that time right now. And we're going to hear all these things, and we might see the lack of finalizing of these trades the Canucks desperately need to happen before July 1st, because a lot of other teams need a Marco Rossi, right? A lot of other teams need a Matt Barzal. Like, the Canucks didn't get anything for Brock Besser. Their assets are slim, okay? So, again, we could head into July 1st still without that second-line center, and I know this may hurt Canucks fans, but because I don't want to pull another Louis Eriksson, but they might be desperate to get, the biggest fish down the middle. And if it's not Matt Duchene, I wonder if it's Brock Nelson. But the UFA market is, man, Trevor, you can shut me up, but that's where they may fix their issues, man. And that's why I want to ask you, like, Matt Duchene, is he a winning player? Okay, let's get critical. Is he a winning type of player? I know he's good in the regular season, and he still has a lot of skill left, and he's still fast, and he does this and that. Like, could he work with the Canucks? I'm not going to say an upgrade over JT Miller. That seems like it's impossible, but like, is he a guy that can impress Quinn Hughes?
Yeah, I mean, that's what you'd hope, at least with Matt Duchene. I think the reason you like Matt Duchene in Vancouver is, look, we all kind of forget about Filipino too, right? I mean, of course, Pettersson's got to bounce back or the Canucks are effed. We all know that. But Filipino does have second-line center potential. You bring in a guy like Matt Duchene, and he can be your second-line center, but let's say Filipino comes in and he's tearing it up and he's noticeable like he was in his short Canucks tenure, then he can push Matt Duchene further down the lineup. And I mean, with Duchene, what the Canucks would have to do is pay him those Brock Besser dollars on a 3-year deal, right? Like in that $8+ million range. And Duchene, he took the discount, right? He had the buyout from Nashville. He took the discount, signed in Dallas on the cheap. It's not going to be the same this time around, especially not if he comes to the Vancouver Canucks. So I guess that's the question for Canucks fans. And Kyle, maybe I'll pose this to you because, you know, there's some talk there about the Canucks wanting to maybe reunite things with the Brock Besser because, oh no, look at this free agent class. It sucks. Now, Kyle, would you be more comfortable giving, let's say, 3 times 8.5 to Matt Duchene or 6 times 8.5 to Brock Besser?
Damn. Damn. No, Brock Besser. The Brock Besser deal. Easily, even though he doesn't play center. Can they teach Brock Besser how to play center? Can they do that? And oh yeah, I got to add this too. Okay, we're pretty much like regurgitating with our own opinions everything that I read with the Thomas Drance article that just came out. Because again, the Canucks hired a new assistant coach. We'll get to that in a couple minutes too. Apparently, the Canucks also just signed Derek Forbort to a one-year deal too, worth $2 million. We'll get to that at the very end of the episode. A lot going on. But yeah, the Thomas Drance article, like him mentioning how the Canucks don't want to trade a first-round pick for a player that's in their 30s, right? Right? They don't want to do that. But hey, if a player is in their 30s and he's available as a UFA, right, and he plays center, they may be forced to give that player term, make the most appetizing offer, right? And again, we're talking about Matt Duchene here, but Brock Nelson too. I feel like why am I so scared, Trevor Beggs? Why am I so scared that if, again, in the next 28 days, or however many days are in June, like if we can't make a trade, we're taking a big risk with this next contract that's going to be dished out by Rutherford and Alvin.
Yeah, I mean, it's desperate times, and we saw what desperate general manager did in Vancouver the first time, and you just got to hope that history doesn't repeat itself here in Vancouver for one of the best fan bases in the NHL. And look, the Brock Nelson one I think is even less appetizing. I think with Matt Duchene, you've seen that, he's made his money in the NHL and he has a willingness to take shorter term deals. He's not a guy that needs 6-7 years like the Brock Bessers and maybe even Brock Nelsons of the world. I'm not sure Brock Nelson's getting 6 years, but I think with Duchene, you could see that he's had an openness to take a shorter term deal. So I think that's the attractive bit there. And
I don't think he is anymore. I don't think he is anymore. Like, I don't know if I heard this from Elliot Friedman. I think he wants, like, again, Trevor, man, I know you're the second best dad in the world. And I don't know, like, everything is like for your children, right? I think what I'm hearing is Duchene's going into that territory. He doesn't have a Stanley Cup yet, but he's had multiple cracks. And I think that, like, security is going to be the most important thing. And like, we just saw what Tampa did with Yanni Gourde, right? Like, I don't know how much this guy's worth if he's not playing in Florida with the tax situation and if he signs a shorter term deal, but he just signed a 6-year deal worth like 2.6 a year. Like, I wonder if like Matt Duchene is like, you mentioned the whole, maybe he's not interested in taking the most money, but like, I wonder if the Canucks are going to have to give this guy like 6 years at a lower, like a lower annual hit. Like, if we saw Toronto do that with Chris Tanev, right?
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, you're right. It's becoming more commonplace in the NHL, right? Chris Tanev signed until he's 41. Yanni Gourde signed until he's 39. Matt Duchene, currently 34 years old, maybe call it 34 and a half years old at this point. He's a January birthday. I think if you're the Canucks, I think there should be interest there at a max of 3 years. If it's anything more than that, you walk away at that point because he's not Yanni Gourde. He's not going to get paid, the money of a bottom 6 player. The guy had 80 plus points last season.
Yeah.
I think the other thing to note about Duchene as well is that he was not great in the postseason. And even if you look at the past 2 postseasons in Dallas, right? I mean, the team, they made it to the conference finals in each of the past 2 seasons. Matt Duchene has 3 goals and 12 points in his last 27 postseason. Sorry, make that 37 postseason games with the Dallas Stars. 3 goals and 12 points in his last 37 postseason games. Those are not great numbers. I know he had great regular seasons, but
never
just
mind.
saying.
Never mind. Anyways, let us know in the comments, okay? Brock Nelson or Matt Duchene, who's going to be the new Louis Eriksson for your Vancouver Canucks? Speaking of the comments, let's get to some. First off, Mother Nucker, man, before the episode starts, is like, here's $5, okay? For real. He's like, treat our ladies to some water with a lemon. All right? That's why you're giving us the $5. Hey, thanks, man. One love to you. I'm always down to go on a double date with Trevor and his beautiful wife, but they chose to have children. So who are you gonna blame? Who are you gonna blame? Huh? Who are you gonna blame? Next comment. Like this one, Trevor. Okay, I'd rather sign Jonathan Toews for pennies than sign Matt Duchene. Talk about that. Like, who else could we get on pennies to get that second line center role situated? Again, let's say we don't make a trade this month. We can't do it. Oh, again, no assets for Brock Besser. It's gonna hurt him in this month. We all saw it coming. Let's say again that's the case, and they have to go shopping. Like, who's like a bargain guy?
A bargain bin guy who can play second line center. What kind of a question is that? I mean, honestly, my answer would be Aatu Ratu because
thank you.
I don't know who else you're signing in free agency that's got the potential to be a second line center. And I think Aatu Ratu, I don't know if it's likely, but I think he at least has the potential to be a second line center. And of course, haven't been treated to as much as we would have liked in these AHL playoffs due to injury, but he's taking some big strides in his game. And if he can increase his skating, or make his skating speed a bit better, he's a legitimate option for a number 2 center, even though it's maybe not the most likely outcome.
Okay, one more comment before we get to break. The people are thinking, man. The people that are thinking that we could, take advantage of Dallas. I didn't know they're in such dire times. Okay. And this comment goes to Mike. Okay, and I think he might be catapulting off of T.O. Mac's comment. Okay, stop recycling old players. Find up and coming talent. And then Mike is saying Dallas is up against the cap with a few big raises coming for Robertson and Harley. Maybe we might be able to buy low on Marchment and Johnson. Oh, I don't know if we're getting Johnston. That's probably not going to happen. They can't afford all 4. Again, the Canucks, Rick Dhaliwal talking about how they should go after Mason Marchment. Maybe even Robertson as well. But can I be the party pooper against and say it for the 3rd time before we on the first third of the show, the first period of Locked On Canucks? We are about to face the wrath of not getting anything for Pius Suter and Brock Besser. This team never makes the playoffs. Screw last year. They never make the playoffs. And against they're a bubble team. They have quality UFAs. And they're like, you know what? Nope. Let's not make no trades. Screw asset management. Oh, if you saw what we'd be getting for Brock Besser at the deadline, you guys would walk out of here and laugh. Whatever Alvin said to the media, all that jazz. The Canucks can't take advantage of what Dallas is going through because they did not trade Brock Besser or Pius Suter at the deadline. Sorry.
God, we've been saying it time again on this show, right? It's Patrick Ovine and Jim Rutherford. Man, they were the bald-headed beauties when they came to Vancouver, but the shine has worn off of those noggins here over the past couple of months. Speaking of bald-headed beauties, the Canucks hired a coach, apparently, allegedly, reportedly. It's not announced yet. They want to announce the whole coaching staff at once. He is not a bald-headed beauty, but we'll tell you about him on the other side here on Locked On Canucks. Oh, it's my favorite ad read of all time. Let's shout out our friends over at Wonderful Pistachios, all right? Are you looking for the snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Well, crack into a good source of protein and put a big old handful of nuts in your mouth, as long as there's those nuts from Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts, baby. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better-for-you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller for longer. And you know me, man, just a dog because I love the no-shells variety. I like popping those naked salty nuts in my mouth all day long. And if you like the teas more like Kyle Bowen, you can crack into a shell with the in-shell options because they are also a classic favorite. So whatever nuts you like to put in your mouth, make sure you get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Boom, bam. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
Yep. Shout out to These nuts are the best. Better than my nuts. People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Canucks. My name is Kyle Bowen. That right there is Trevor Baggs. And that was an emotional start to the episode, man. I'm starting to get scared of this month, man. It's going to be an intense month. We're going to see some movement, and I'm scared that the Canucks are going to lack the tools to get it done. And the more and more I think about it, they're going to have to be creative, like really creative, and go out of the box and do things that nobody else is talking about. And that's gonna involve a lot of work. Like Alvin and Rutherford, how old is Jim Rutherford? 96? 96? He has to be the hardest 96-year-old in human history to pull what we need him to pull off. And I care about his health and his well-being. But hey, man, you're the president of the United States you're the president of the Vancouver Canucks. Okay, the most important job in the world. You take care of business, okay? Speaking of taking care of business, hey, maybe we don't need a centerman, okay? Maybe we don't need any of that because defense and D wins championships. And the Canucks, they get a defensive specialist to join Adam Foote on the coaching staff. Talk to us about the new dean of Vancouver.
Man, oh man, just what the people of Vancouver were waiting for. The Canucks to hire a defensive-minded coach to complement their defensive-minded head coach. Hey, you know what they say, man? Defense wins championships. And your Vancouver Canucks, the best goalies in the NHL, the best defense in the NHL. Man, oh man, the Canucks, they're definitely winning the Stanley Cup next year now, especially that Kevin Dean is on board now. Kevin Dean, he played 331 career NHL games, bouncing around with New Jersey, Atlanta, Dallas, and Chicago. He's been an assistant coach for most of the last 20 years at the AHL level and NHL level. Some of the defensemen he developed in Boston included Charlie McAvoy. Did some good work with him in Boston. Was an assistant coach behind the bench there from 2017 through the end of 2022. He was Bruce Cassidy's right-hand man even at the AHL level. Before that with the Providence Bruins. He's been with the Chicago Blackhawks the last 3 seasons, helping develop a couple of young defensemen. I think most notably for me is Alex Vlasic, who there's a lot of people not a fan of his game when he came out of his draft year, and he's turned into like arguably their best defenseman, which it's Chicago, I know, but Kevin Dean's played a role in that.
No, Vlasic's good. He's good. You could tell he's. Who am I supposed to compare him to? Because I only seen him play a couple games, but he's just like, I'm not gonna say Chris Tanev because like Chris Tanev is such a unique player. But he's like so.
Esa Lindell. I want to say Esa Lindell, like a big body defensive defenseman. He kind of reminds me of Esa Lindell.
Defensive, good skater, good first pass, like one of those guys.
Yeah, there we go. Esa Lindell 2.0, boom, bam. So now he joins the Vancouver Canucks, and I think I know what most fans are thinking, right? It's like, where are the goals going to come from? And look, of course, the goal scoring's got to come from the players themselves, but it does give us some hints about the rest of the coaching staff right now. Based on the reports about Kevin Dean joining the Canucks, he's not going to be officially announced as an assistant until they've rounded out the staff. But it does make me believe that Sergei Gonchar won't be returning to the Vancouver Canucks, right? He was a guy who was largely in charge of the defense. Never say never. But it's, I'd say it's less and less likely he comes back. And Yogi Svechkovsky, who was promoted last year, was in charge of a power play that didn't do great. And there's been no update on him either. I have my doubts about him coming back too. So it could be a completely new coaching staff for your Vancouver Canucks. But we'll see. In terms of Kevin Dean, one thing I found interesting, and this was, I'll read the quotes from this. So, of course, tumultuous season in Chicago. Assistant coaches don't often speak to the media, but Kevin Dean, the interim coach of the Chicago Blackhawks, Anders Sorensen. So after Luke Richardson got fired, Anders Sorensen took over. And basically he was, asked about the Chicago Blackhawks defense. And he said, quote, "I still believe defensemen should play defense first, and I don't think it'll change from that. But in today's NHL, you have to get your D activated and contributing through offense, or you're going to have a hard time." And then he went on to say that Sorensen is more, quote, "Let's outscore the opposition. Let's defend hard when we don't have it, but let's not try to win 1-0. Let's go out and make some plays and score some goals." So it's interesting to hear an assistant coach basically saying that his head coach thinks the team's being too offensive. And look, in Chicago is a different story, I guess. The fact that, the team obviously isn't winning anything, so you want your guys to at least try to be exciting, at least be fun, at least be creative. Those are the things we were saying in Vancouver at the time. But Kyle, what are your thoughts on an assistant coach calling out the head coach mid-season because he doesn't like the way the head coach is coaching? And mind you, this isn't like the coach is on the hot seat, you're getting fired. This is the interim head coach who just got hired.
What are my thoughts, man? Hey, dude, I like stuff like that, man. We're trying to win here. We're trying to be successful, man. We're not trying to be friends here. Come on, man. I wish you and I called each other out more. Speaking of which, I'll update the Substack today. Okay, I'm going out for coffee at 3:45. I couldn't get it up yesterday. Trevor, you should have called me this morning and called me an asshole and an unprofessional mother pucker. But there you are being a yes man, and that's the problem with you. That's the problem with me too. That's why we won't be as successful as Kevin Dean will be with the Vancouver Canucks, because he likes to hold people accountable. And I wonder if like the Alvin and Rutherford read that quote prior to hiring Kevin Dean, because maybe they think that Adam Foote needs a cast of strong characters around him, right? Maybe. All in all, though, I think the most impressive thing here, though, is just a list of good players that have developed under him. And for a team that has, I would say, multiple, I'm going to use the word really good defensive prospects, right? I'm a believer in Tom Melander, Eric Lindros 2.0. I'm a big believer in Mancini and DPD as well. And I think having Foote and Dean together, I think some people are a little scared, like, well, that's way too defensive. But again, the D is the strength of this team. It really is. So tap into it, lean into it. And there's a better chance that those three young defensemen will be able to take the next step in their career. And that's when you kind of start to understand like what the makeup of this team is ultimately going to look like and how they could have success next season, second line center or not. Because the D is strong. Hey, man. Hey, man, the D is strong, man. You know, when the D is so strong, again, you just strut into London Drugs and, you just pick up whatever box you want. Don't hide it underneath all the other items. Like back in the day, I'd buy a box of, the rubbers, and yeah, I would have to hide it with like a water bottle or something, or just like a scarf. I don't even wear scarves, but I don't want anyone, Okay. Trevor,
I'll be damned.
Trevor, the D is strong, and I'm happy that we're leaning into that. And I think that had a lot to do with the Adam Foote signing too, Trevor.
Yeah, you mentioned, man, you couldn't get it up this morning, so it makes sense that you would respect a strong D. And look, the Canucks, do they have the strongest D in the NHL, right? The defense. Look at the defensive head coaches on this team. They got a former defenseman as general manager, right? The D is everywhere in Vancouver, man. And Kyle, to your point, like I said, tap into it. That's the main thing you can do. And Kevin Dean had his hands full last season with I guess aside from San Jose, the most inexperienced blue line in the NHL with the Chicago Blackhawks. Now it comes to Vancouver, where arguably he's got one of the strongest defenses in the NHL to coach. So I'm curious to see what he can do in Vancouver here. Again, I think we're all waiting for the shoe to drop on what the rest of the coaching staff is, but by all accounts, Kevin Dean has done a good job of developing players through his time in the NHL and working with some goats among coaches like Bruce Cassidy as well. All right, Kyle, let's cut to break here, get to some comments on the other side, and wrap it up here on Locked On Canucks.
People, we back doing this, and that's chatting about, the Canucks and not touching base with our friendship, man. Trevor, the sun is shining. You haven't invited me over for a barbecue yet. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of strange, man. You're turning more and more into a father and less of a friend, and part of me wants to respect that, but a part of me wants to hold you accountable and remind you once again that I've known you longer than your children have known you. So it's time for you to do the math. Okay.
Well, man, I also haven't cooked you that meatloaf yet either. Probably because you think that the only thing I cook is meatloaf. So I do got a few other tricks up my sleeve, buddy. It's not just all meatloaf and mashed potatoes in the Beggs household, man.
That's something else. Hey, speaking of tricks, man, I mean, it's a family show, but what's more, I guess I was about to say what's more family than a box of condoms, but I guess that's probably the most anti-family thing ever. Rightfully so. But apparently they're going to start adding sizes to the boxes, not just for the extra double XL. I'm talking about like small, medium, large.
Oh wow. Oh okay.
That's not fair, man. That's crazy to me, and I don't know, man, because it's either that or vasectomy. Okay, for me, I don't know what's going on. Okay, you know what? Let's get to some This is a scary one, but again, we're getting closer and closer to the next season, so I feel as if a lot of us are just thinking about the Canucks more, thinking about how stressful this month of June is. Okay, Nathan Reed is saying, dude, the more I think about it, the more I think the Canucks should rebuild now. The options are slim. They have few assets, and I'm scared they are setting themselves up to be the most mid-team. Two big things need to happen this June for me not to believe that as well, and that's them pulling off a miracle and pulling off some like miraculous trade that nobody's talking about. And B, Elias Pettersson, again, 1,000 burpees in 10 minutes. He's able to do that. If those two things happen, the Canucks will be better in September and October. If those two things don't happen and they strike out, like Trevor, I'm still putting this on the table. If they strike out, okay, on a lot of things that they want to accomplish, are they gonna trade Quinn Hughes in August?
No, I think there's a pretty much a 0% chance that happens. Like I've said it before, like the absolute earliest the Canucks would trade Quinn Hughes would be the deadline next year. Like if they suck next season and the future's looking bleak and Pettersson's still Philip Deneau and Quinn Hughes wants out, it's like you're going to maximize his value at the trade deadline next year. That's the absolute earliest I see Quinn Hughes potentially getting traded. And, look, maybe something we should do, and I've had this as an episode idea, is how many pieces do the Canucks actually need, maybe shaking it out? Because right now, I mean, look, in terms of next season, the Canucks being mid, it's like they're going to have some things go right. So many things went wrong last season. So many things went right in 24-25 that I think, like, if just some balance of normalcy happens in Vancouver, which of course never happens, but if there's some semblance of normalcy here, the Canucks could still be a playoff team pretty easily, in my opinion, right? You get a small bounce back from Pettersson. A lot of guys who had major down years like Höglander and Joshua could be better. Philip Hedl, I think, has potential. He finally stays healthy to be a great player. It's a lot of ifs, but I think, again, if the Canucks even have average luck next season, I think they'll be right in the mix for the playoffs. Not where we want to be, but hey, like we're talking about, man, it's the mid-Vancouver Canucks right now. Until they make some seriously splashy moves or that Pettersson turns back into a superstar, it is truly the mid-Vancouver Canucks.
And yeah, the whole Demko thing too, like Demko's healthy and all that jazz and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, the Canucks can make the playoffs, but I don't know if making the playoffs is convincing Quinn Hughes to like extend next July, right? The crazy times for your Vancouver Canucks, and even crazier that like the Canucks choose to sign Derek Forbort and give him $2 million for next year before signing Pius Suter to an extension. And I like Derek Forbort. I thought he was really, really good last year when he was able to like play a handful of games in a row. And but $2 million? You know what, Trevor? I think I was looking for. I mean, I guess you could bury that contract, but I was looking forward to like seeing Mancini, Willander, and DPD all in the lineup, game in and game out. And are you okay with
like? I think unless you're a rebuilding team, that's a little optimistic, right? Like, how many teams have that many rookie defensemen in their lineup and are successful? Like, I don't know if I can think of one.
I just read. I'm just reading the Patrick Waugh book, and I didn't know the Canadians beat the Calgary Flames way back in the day in the Stanley Cup Finals in like '86 or something like that, with 8 rookies on their team. All right, no, all I'm saying is like allocating $2 million to Derek Forbort. He actually deserves that. Real talk, because he's actually a really good penalty killer, and he's physical, and he'll stand up for his teammates, and he's a good penalty killer. Like he's 3 times the defenseman as Vincent Desharnais. This is not another Vincent Desharnais situation. But I don't know. Like, could they have like saved maybe like $500,000, $750,000 and acquire like a seventh defenseman or a sixth defenseman that could give you like what Derek Forbort gave you last year, so that you have more room to like potentially keep Pius Suter? I don't know.
Yeah, you probably could have, and I think the Canucks see Derek Forbort as an everyday player. I mean, one who has some injury struggles in the past, but I think they see him as an everyday player. So now going into next season, it's like, okay, on the left side now you got Quinn Hughes, Marcus Pettersson, Derek Forbort, and DPD, right? Does DPD go to the right side, and then over there you got Hronik Myers, and now it's like you basically have Mancini, Willander, and DPD competing for one spot. I do hope it is more of an open competition at training camp between DPD and Derek Forbort, and they can swap in and out. And if the inevitable hits with injuries, then you got some depth there. But kind of like you, I was kind of hoping that they would sign a guy. Again, 500. It's not really about the money, but more so a guy where it's a legitimate competition with DPD. Whereas now it feels like DPD is kind of the odd man looking out. And might swap it with Derek.
No way. That's not Trevor. That's not the way it's looking. DPD.
Well, look at how they were utilized last season, man. I'm just saying DPD was, for the most part, as great as he was, until injury hit, he was mainly like a 12 to 15 minute guy, whereas Derek Forbort was playing, 17, 18 minutes a night.
And look who's the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks, right? Crazy.
No, but Adam Foote spoke glowingly about DPD. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, right? I mean, for Canucks fans, for our sake, I hope I'm wrong. But it's on the young guys too, right? Like, it's on DPD to prove that he is a better player than Derek Forbort.
True.
I think that's what it comes down to the end of the day.
True. Internal competition is needed, and yeah. Here's the thing too. Like, keeping the band together and prioritizing keeping good guys in the dressing room is one thing, and I think that's why they wanted Derek Forbort here, right? Because he just seems to be like you need to have a guy like that. All that being said, though, I when you trade an unprotected first for Marcus Pettersson to get a guy like that, it's kind of like, okay, I don't want to go out of my way to get guys like that. And I wonder, like, $2 million for Derek Forbort, like, I don't know. He deserves it. And as Jax is saying, he's good for his role. I just maybe want Pius Suter back desperately. I was hoping to hear some Pius Suter news today, okay? Anyways, that was another episode of Locked On Canucks. Do us all a favor. Hit the like button. My friend did tell me to go to Turkey to get my hair transplant, which was surprising because I told him, like, yo, I think, you know how Manny Malhotra looks? Like, Manny Malhotra's, like, he's looking like a stud right now because he's chiseled. Like, he's like 0.1% body fat. I'm like, you know what? If I do that, and people can start seeing my cheekbones more, I could rock the bald look. It's still going to be the sexiest FanDuel out there. And that's a goal of mine because, dude, I don't know if I shave my head, like, is my girl going to stay with me forever and allow me to be her husband? I don't know. I hope so. But okay, Trevor, you found out a lot about me throughout this episode. I need to go to therapy and I need to shut up. Okay. Just end the episode off. Okay. Hit the like button, save a life. Finish the episode.
One love to you, brother. You're gonna make it, man. Hope to see you here on another episode of Locked On Canucks. And for you tuning in, we appreciate the hell out of you for tuning into Locked On Canucks. If you like what we're doing, go subscribe and like on YouTube on the podcast side. Go follow us and leave a 5-star review because it's Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every damn day. We'll catch you tomorrow on Hump Day. Peace.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.